Hi guys, this is Mehul Mehta and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, I specifically want to talk about the kind of interview questions that have been asked for a quant interview. So you might, if you're applying for market risk, credit risk, derivative pricing, quant researcher, quant analyst, quant modeler, so I believe like this video will definitely help you to understand the kind of interview questions that have been asked. So without wasting any time, let's start. So I've created a small presentation for you so that it will help you to understand in better detail. Um, so yes, so this is my slide. I have created a small presentation. So yes, that's me, Mehul Mehta. And let's move on the next slide. See, the thing is, a lot of people and lot of students whom I interact with, they say that there are not many jobs in the quant space. But that is that statement is wrong. It's just that you're not using the right keyword to look out for jobs, right? So, over my years of experience, I feel like these are some keywords which you can use while you are looking for job. And I'm pretty sure that most of the jobs will be by this name. So maybe if you can search for quant analyst or quantitative analyst, quant modeler, market risk, credit risk, quant researcher, quant developer, risk quant, model validation, quant financial analyst, right? So I feel like this is a whole bunch of keywords which you can utilize while you are looking for your next job, or yeah, while you are looking for a job. And I'm pretty sure that most of the jobs will be by this name. So I hope this list will help you. And let's jump on the main thing why I'm recording this video. That is to make you understand like what are the kind of interview questions that have been asked in the interview. So for this video, I'm totally focusing on derivatives. See, derivatives is very important when you are going for a quant interview. Specifically, if you are targeting something like quant researcher or quant analyst or market risk positions, even model validation positions, I believe like if you understand derivative well, you have a very high chance of impressing your recruiter. So like these are so okay, let me share you my experience, right? So when I was pursuing my master's in financial mathematics at North Carolina State University, it's a university in United States. So when I was preparing for my interviews, I felt like there is a list of common interview questions that have been asked during the interviews. So what I used to do was after every interview, I used to note down all the interview questions, and I used to practice the same questions for the next interview, and this really helped me to create a bunch of all the interview questions. So whatever you see on the screens are the questions that have been asked to me, and I'm pretty sure that you can be asked a very similar question, something like this. So let's deep dive, okay? So let's understand some of the basic derivative questions. So the recruiter might ask you, what is the derivatives, and what are some common derivatives that are traded in the financial market. So make sure that whenever you explain anything, give a good definition. So what you can say is a derivative is a financial instrument which derive its value from the underlying, and the derivatives are, some of the common derivatives that are traded in the financial markets are forwards, futures, options, and swaps. Also, since the derivative derives its value from the underlying, there can be different underlying like stocks, indexes, ETFs, commodities, currencies, interest rates, etc. So, if you give a good definition, I'm pretty sure that the recruiter will be impressed. Second question, explain the difference between a forward and a future. See, whenever someone asks you, can you explain the difference or something like that, I really want you guys to at least tell 4 to 5 points, even more if you can, so that at least the recruiter understand, you have a good clarity on all these concepts. So let's say futures, right? Futures are basically standardized agreement, while forwards are customized agreement between two counterparties. So that's the first thing. Second thing is futures are traded on the exchange while forwards are traded on over the counter. So that's the second point. Third point is since futures are traded on the exchange, that's why it has higher liquidity. And since forwards are traded on over the counter, that's why it's a less liquid derivative. So that is the third point you can say. Fourth point you can say is, since the futures are traded over the exchange, that's why there is less counterparty risk. But since in forwards, like there is no counterparty in between, so I mean there's like in futures you have to, I mean there's in forwards you have like no counterparty acting between between two parties. The word is CCP, which basically means that there is no mediator between two parties. So that's why in general forwards have high counterparty risk. So that's like the fourth point you can say. So if you specify like all these points, I'm pretty sure like the interviewer will get impressed, and make sure that you explain, or you at least give a example if you want a bit for a forward and for a future, right? So moving on to next question, what is an option? What are two primary options? See, again, option is nothing but is a type of derivative which is generally traded in the market. The two different types of options are call options and put options. Also, what I would have done is I would have gone beyond and explain what a call option is and what a put option is. Call option is nothing but it gives you the right to buy, and put option is nothing but it gives you the right to sell. But again, make sure that it is just the right and it is not an obligation. So let's say if I have a call option, I can buy the underlying, but I do not have any obligation to buy it. So make sure you understand the concepts clearly. Okay, so moving on to the next question, like what is the underlying assets in a derivative contract? So there can be a different underlyings that can be inside a derivative contract. So as I mentioned, it can be stocks, it can be indexes, it can be ETFs, it can be commodities, it can be currencies, interest rates. So these are some common underlyings which are some common underlying in a derivative contract. And like I remember this question, like all of these questions were being asked to me. So initially, I was a bit hesitant in telling the right definition, but over time, you know of course, like it comes with practice over time, so I was able to answer with full confidence. Okay, so moving on to next question, what is the difference between an American option and a European option? See, the thing is the main difference, right? The main difference is a European option can only be exercised at the maturity, while an American option can be exercised during any time of the option period. Also, you can say one more difference is like um, uh, to value a European option or to get the fair price of a European option, you use Blackshell methods, while to get the fair price of the American method, you use binomial tree method, right? See, the main thing is make sure like you are able to give 3 to 4 points, so that the interviewer respects, that you have a good clarity on all these topics. Moving on to the sixth question, describe the concept of option moneyness. See, option moneyness is nothing but, in the money. Option can be either in the money, at the money, or out of the money, right? Now, for a call option, in the money will basically mean that the stock price is greater than the strike price. At the money will basically mean that the stock price is equal to the strike price, and out of the money will mean is like the meaning of out of money for a call option is that the stock price is less than the strike price. So this is for a call option, and make sure like you understand what is moneyness for a put option. It's just that these signs will change, and if you say you can say the similar thing after reversing the sign for a put option. Seventh question is, what are the factors that influence the price of an option? See, there are only five or six factors which can influence the price of an option. And what are they? So it's basically the strike price, the stock price, the interest rates, the volatility, the maturity, and if in case if the option is getting any dividends. So all these six factors can actually influence the price of an option. Now describe the payoff profile for a long call, short call, long put, short put. I remember this question being asked me at I guess EY interview. Yeah, I was interviewing for EY for a senior consultant role. uh, during like when I graduated from my master, and that the role was quant analyst. But the recruiter actually wanted me to draw the graphs for a long call, short call, long put, short put, and also like what is the payoff equation. Like for a call option, let's say long call option, it is maximum of st minus k comma 0. So like this, you need to remember the mathematical equation for all the four. That is long call, long put, short call, short put. Um, so moving on to the next slide, yo. So this is, Blackshell model. I feel like it's, I can say like the most favorite interview questions that any interviewer can ask you. Okay, let me drink some water. Yeah, so Blackshell model, I believe, if you're going for any content interview, this is a must. This you should understand Blackshell model from the very start. So some of the common question is, what is a Blackshell model? How does it work, right? See, Blackshell model is nothing but it is a model, it is a mathematical model which is used to price European options, right? Now, what all factors affect the price of the Blackshell model? See, as I said, like Blackstone model considers, if you see the mathematical equation of the Blackstone model, it have like five components, that is strike price, stock price, risk-free rate, maturity, and volatility. So these are the five factors which affects the price of an option in a Blackstone model. Again, Blackstone models, is the same. Derive the formula of Blackstone model. See, I have highlighted specifically this in italics because in a lot of interviews you will be asked this question. I know like so many of my batchmates from JP Morgan, who were interviewing with JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, few consulting firms, they got interviewed, and a lot of them were they were asked this, can you derive the Blackstone model? And see, the thing is, not many people remember the derivation, but I feel like if you're going for content interview, this is one such derivation. I just want you to remember this derivation only. If you remember this derivation, I mean, I'm pretty sure that if someone asks you to derive the formula from scratch, you will be able to do. And also, there are multiple ways of deriving Black-Scholes formula. So whatever way you feel comfortable and you can derive that, but make sure that you understand it. So the next question is, what are the key assumptions of a Black-Scholes model? See, I feel like this question was asked to me multiple times, in while I was interviewing A1 for a risk interview or a validation interview. See, what you have to say is, there are certain assumptions that the Black-Scholes model takes into consideration. The first is, Black-Scholes model can only be used for pricing European option. The second, you can say that there are no dividends that are being considered during the life of the option. Third is, since it's a European option, that's why it cannot be exercised before the maturity. You can say that it assumes an efficient the Black-Scholes model assumes an efficient market. Efficient market basically means that um, I mean, there is no transaction cost and things like that, right? I mean, then you can say that the model assumes that the risk-free rate remains constant, and also it assumes that the volatility of the underlying asset remains constant. So these are certain assumptions of the Black-Scholes model. See, the main thing is, I understand, you might take some time to recall, and because even if because I did not prepare, for how to answer this, right? I'm just telling what I lastly remember. So make sure it's fine even if you get stuck. Ask the recruiter to give you some time so that you can answer, and make sure you answer all the points. So the last question is, can you explain the component of Black-Scholes formula? See, the thing is, when you see in this, one of my friend who was interviewing was recently asked this question: Can you explain that? Can you explain the component?" So what basically this question means is, right? You need to tell what is. If you see the Black-Scholes formula, there are multiple components, right? What is ND1? What is ND2? Right? So like that, you need to break the formula for a call option and a put option, and then you need to make the recruiter understand, let's say, what does the first component of the formula means and what does the second part of the formula means. So that was all about the Black-Scholes models. I believe like Black-Scholes and Binomial both are very, very important model. So I believe you should have a very good grasp on all these models. So again, like what is a binomial tree model and how does it differ from Black-Scholes? See the since Black-Scholes model can only be priced for a European option and you cannot price American option. So that is why that is why binomial option pricing model came into picture because it can be used to price both European and American option. Okay. So this is the main difference. Again, like explain the concept of binomial tree and how is this model used. The model is used to price both European and American. And again, like when they ask you, can you explain how the concept of binomial, you need to tell, like you need to first tell like what are some of the assumptions, like like the stocks, the underlying can move either up or it can either go down, and whatever the assumptions are, then you need to tell the concept of risk neutral probability, which basically tells how much the underlying will go, what's the probability of the underlying to go up and down. And then using all these concepts, you will be defining the tree for the binomial model, and depending on the tree, first you will calculate the price of the underlying, and then you will back calculate the price of the option. So this is I mean, make sure that when you tell this, you understand the concepts clearly, you understand the concept of risk neutral probability, how how the tree is calculated, how the tree is broken into different time, like let's say if let's say if it's a if the contract is for 1 year, then maybe you can cut into 3 time steps or 4 time steps, something like that, right? Okay, so the next question is, how can you determine the option price at each node of the binomial tree? So what you need to do, as I said, you need to when you're calculating the price of the option at any node, right? You need to back calculate the option price, and also for a call option, if you're using, you need to use the formula like a maximum of st minus k comma 0, and for a put option it will be just maximum of k minus st comma 0. So make sure that at every node you are calculating this formula, and then you are basically going backward in the backward direction. So okay, so this was it. Okay, moving on to the next question. What is the role of risk neutral probability? So and how is it calculated? See, as I said, risk neutral probability is nothing but it is used to understand like how much your what's the probability of your underlying going up and down. And again, you should, I believe, like um you should remember the formula, like what is I believe you should make sure that you should remember the formula of risk neutral probability. Okay. So last question is, how does accuracy of binomial option pricing model improves as the number of time steps in the binomial tree increases, and what are the practical limitations? See, what happens is, if let's say you increase the time steps, let's say if you have taken uh, if as more and more granular your time becomes, the accuracy of your binomial model will increase. So let's say you, instead of taking 3 time steps, let's say you are taking 100 time steps, so that will actually improve the accuracy of your model by a lot. Okay. Also, like one more thing to think is, and you should know this, that when you discretize your binomial model, right, by a lot, so that actually converges to a Black-Scholes model, right? So that is what you should know, and that is what interviewer can also ask you. Okay. So moving on, Greeks. Yes, this is like the most like every interviewer is so excited and so interested about interview questions on Greeks, because I mean this concept, I believe like this concept is widely used in the industry, and I feel like if you are a student or if you're someone who's interviewing, this concept is very important to understand. Okay, so what are some of the common Greeks and why do we use them? See, some of the common Greeks are delta, gamma, rho, theta, vega. And why do we use Greeks is just to understand the risk measures. So when you are taking any positions in the market, Greeks help you to understand what can be the risk associated while taking that position in the market. So this is nothing but it's called Greeks. what is delta, gamma, rho, theta, vega? So whenever the interviewer asks you such thing, the interviewer really wants that you should define all these Greeks, and you should actually know the definition of it. Not just the definition, you should actually understand the concept. What is delta for a call option, for a put option? Similarly, gamma for call put. Again, when I say call put, I mean long call, short put. I mean long call, short call, long put, short put. So you should have a very clear picture of all these things. So delta is nothing but how does the price of your portfolio changes with change in underlying. Gamma is nothing but it's called the second order derivative of this relationship what I just mentioned. Also, you can say that gamma is nothing but change. It measures the change in delta with respect to change in underlying. The rho is nothing but how does your portfolio changes with change in interest rate, with change in 1% of risk-free rate to be more precise. Theta is nothing but how does your portfolio changes with change in time. As time decreases, how does your price of your option fluctuates. And vega is nothing but it tells you how does your portfolio changes with change in 1% of the volatility. So I guess this is all about Greeks. Again, like how does the del moving on to the next question, like how does the delta of a call option differ from a put option? See, whenever someone asks this question, the main expectation is to from you is to answer. The main expectation is basically that you can tell the range of call of delta of a call option and delta of a put option. So it's nothing but for a call option, the delta is between 0 to 1, and for a put option the delta is between 0 to -1. Again, you can simplify this further in terms of moneyness of the option. So if it's in the money, at the money, or out of the money, what will be the value? Let's say for a call option, if it's out of the money, the delta is 0. If it's at the money, the delta is zero point 0.5. And if it's in the money, the delta is 1. And similarly for a put option, if it's out of the money, the delta is 0. If it's at the money, the delta is negative zero point 0.5. And if it's in the money, the delta is -1. So make sure that you remember all this range very clearly. Okay, so what does the delta of zero point 0.5 means for a call option? And like this question was actually asked to me. So see, whenever someone asks you this question, the main thing is the interviewer really wants you to to understand. Are you someone who have just mugged up the definition, or do you really understand the concept? So delta of zero point 0.5 basically means that when the underlying changes by $1, the price of your option will change by $0.5. So, so that is what delta of zero point 0.5 means. Then how does gamma vary with time of expiration, and why is it important? See, gamma is, again, as I said, it tells how much your delta will change with changing underlying. So, so how will it vary at the expiration? So, at the expiry, if your option is at the money, then your gamma will be high. But if your option is in the money, or if it's out of the money, then the gamma will be low. So you should actually understand what does a high gamma, or let's say what does a low gamma means. Moving on to the next question, when is gamma highest for a call option? Gamma is highest at the money. So if you see the graph, it's basically on a very close to a bell shape or a normal distribution graph for a gamma of a call option. So basically, at the if you see this graph at the money will be at the at the center. So that's why we say gamma is highest for at the money. Similarly, like if delta is zero point 0.6, gamma is zero point 0.1, what does it signify? It basically signifies that if gamma is zero point 0.1, it basically signifies that delta, if things changes, delta can either go to zero point 0.7 or delta can either go to zero point 0.5. So when delta goes to zero point 0.7, of course, when the underlying changes by 1, the portfolio, or let's say the option, will change by zero point 0.7, or similarly it can change by zero point 0.5. So this is what it means. uh, how do Vega value differ at the money and out of the money? See, okay. Okay, this was actually asked to me in one of my interviews. See, when your Vega is at the money, right, you have a higher, it can either go to in the money, or it can either go to out of the money, right? So when your Vega is at the money, your Vega is high. But when your Vega is, let's say, in the money, or let's say when your Vega is out of the money, your Vega is low. So what does high vega means? That you have a higher chance of you have a higher volatility chances, and lower vega means lower volatility chances. So higher volatility, nothing but volatility of the option to move from at the money to either in the money or to out of the money. So again, make sure that all you understand all these interview questions. How does row changes, or let's say how does theta changes for a call and put option? See, the main reason I'm telling you the answers also, so that you have a basic understanding of what to say. Again, these answer, because I'm just recording this for the purpose of letting you know the kind of interview questions. So these are not very, like, I'm just thinking what I remember. So make sure that whenever you are trying to say the answer, it should be, in a clear and precise way. Okay, moving on to exotic options. So okay, see, some of the interviews I remember, like when I was looking for internships, and when I just started learning about derivatives, like few of the I was interviewing for few market risk internships, and at that time they asked me about exotic options, and at that time actually I didn't know much on exotic options, but yeah, of course, I mean, I started learning about that after the interview happened. See, exotic options are nothing but those are very different from your normal from your normal standard options like American or European. And also exotic options have a very specific need. So most of the people, or let's say most of the organization who are buying the exotic option, they might have a very specific risk management need, or they might have a very specific investment strategy which they want to place in. So that is why you use a exotic option. Then this question might be asked, like, what are different kinds of exotic options? So binary option, barrier option, Asian option, Bermudian option, look back show option are some of the exotic options that have been traded actively in the market. Then what is the concept of barrier option? See, the concept of barrier option is very simple. It's simple as in, if the underlying, right? See, of course, the option will have an underlying. So whatever in the contract, right? There will be a barrier mentioned. Like if the underlying crosses that barrier, then the option will be exercised. And if the underlying does not cross the barrier, the underlying will not be exercised. So let's assume that if the barrier is, let's say, 100, and your currently stock is at 90, right? So let's say if this value crosses 100, let's say if your underlying crosses 100, the option will be exercised, and you will be given what are in the terms and conditions of the option contract. Similarly, what is a binary option, and how does it differ from traditional option? See, binary option is nothing but one or zero. So depending on the contract, whatever is written on the contract, there will be few terms and condition mentioned in the contract. So if the terms and condition matches with what's being happening in the financial market, then let's say you will be, the binary option will be one, which basically means the market the which basically means that the option has been executed, and a binary of zero means the option has not been executed. So how to calculate the price of Asian option, barrier option, Bermudian option, look back option? So again, make sure that you understand how to calculate it, how these options are different, why people even use this option. So make sure, like, to just Google it, or maybe to read some textbook. Like, all of these are there in the textbook, so it will be really handy if if you read some textbook. Okay, so this is my last presentation. I know, like, this was a pretty big video, and but I assure you that if you learn all these interview questions, it will be really helpful for you when you are going for your next quant interview. So again, swaps, like, what is swap? It's a kind of derivatives in which there are two parties involved. They basically swap their underlying. Now the underlying can be different types. So again, coming to my second question, what are different types of swaps? Now, interest rate swap, credit default swap, commodity swap, currency swap, um, interest rate. I guess I mentioned interest rate swap. So these are some common types of swaps that have been actively traded in the market. And then moving to the third question, how does interest rate swap functions, and what's the purpose? See, the thing is, you need to tell the recruiter, what are different interest rate swaps, like fixed to floating, floating to fixed, floating to floating, and why do we use, let's say, why a firm engages in fixed to floating, or why someone is looking for a floating to fixed. So make sure that you understand the nuances of it. How does the payment structure look like in a swap option, in a swap, and let's say in the interest rate swap, and like what are being exchanged. So so as I said, like fixed to floating, floating to floating are some interest rate swaps. And the last is like, what is a credit default swap? What's its primary objective? This question was never asked to me, but I feel like, it's like a kind of interview question that can be asked. But I believe like most of the interview questions that you see in this presentation were being asked to me. And since I had this habit of making sure that I record all the interview questions in my diary. So that really helped me, to stand out in most of the interviews. So I guess this was it about this video. I hope you like this, and if you have any questions, please do comment in the section, and please do comment in the comment section. And see, this is just derivative that I have covered. There are other subjects also that I will be covering in the next videos. What are the subjects is basically fixed income, stochastic calculus, time series, machine learning, regression modeling, market risk, credit risk. So there are a lot of different subjects that I'll be covering in my other videos. So as of now, I wish you all the very best. Make sure that you utilize the quant keywords that I have listed in the initial, and make sure you understand all these concepts clearly, so that when you go for your interviews, you have a very good, you go with confidence. Also, these are just the basic interview questions that can be asked. Every interviewer can rotate the question in multiple ways and can ask you, but I feel like I have covered some of these. But make sure to read the book, read the textbook, and understand the concepts clearly, so that if any question comes out from random, you are able to answer. So I wish you all the very best. Thank you so much for watching this video, and all the very best. Bye.